Year, everyone. I wish you all the best for a very prosperous and happy 2022. The reason why I'm posting this is that we are always thinking about growth when we talk about a new year, reflecting on our performance towards our goals from the previous year. And a lot of people, when they think of growth, they think of potentially partnerships, especially in the real estate investment business. So with doing this for 15 years, I have learned a lot about partnerships, and I wanted to share that in the event that you're considering doing a partnership with somebody in a real estate transaction or any business venture for that matter. So I've learned a lot of painful lessons throughout the years, and I have learned a lot of valuable tips on how to structure partnerships and what to consider before going into a partnership. So I have 3 things to recommend as advice. A partnership is not unlike a marriage, okay? You want to take time before entering into a partnership with somebody. You don't want to find an opportunity and then try to scramble for somebody to partner on it. Let's say if you need money or you need some type of experience, you should be having these conversations with this prospective partner or somebody you're thinking about, you're vibing well with before going into it. You want to be able to date them for an extended period of time. Talk about your collective goals and dreams and aspirations. Listen, I dated my wife for a very long time before I decided to marry her. I want to make sure that she was the best person, the most beautiful and best person for me before we got married. So make sure that you take the time, meet with them on a regular basis, and take your time in terms of establishing, all right, what are our goals together? Is our goal to have kids, right? Is our goal to be a $1 million company or a $10 billion company? These things are very, very critical issues to consider when forming a partnership, because if you want to have a bunch of kids and your partner doesn't want to have any kids, you're going to have some problems, right? So that's one thing to consider, is just take your time. Myself and David, we dated for several months before we tied the knot, so to speak, in forming OakGrove companies. We met on a weekly basis and talked about what are our professional goals, what are our life goals, what are our common values together. So definitely very important to take your time before entering into a partnership. Number 2, remember to consider alternatives to a formal partnership. Just because you want to do business with somebody doesn't mean you have to form an LLC with somebody, okay? So what I like to recommend is what I call partnership light. This is something, to identify something you can work with on this prospective person that you feel good about and partnering with. So like, let's say you're working with them on putting on an event, right? And putting on a real estate meetup or some type of seminar or event if you're in complementary industries. Working on a small project together to kind of see like where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. People are very, very good at interviewing. And so you really don't know how somebody's going to perform or operate or where their values are until you actually work with them on something. So definitely alternatives to partnerships. At the very most, you should consider a different type of structure called a joint venture. So like, let's say if there's a general contractor that you're feeling good about, who's interested in flipping houses and have a little bit of cash to maybe float their labor cost through a project, and you say, all right, well, I can really good at finding a house to flip and finding the money in order to buy it, but I need help with the rehab costs and I want to have an alignment of interest with somebody. You can form a joint venture with that contractor, and they can agree to, and all that can be lined out just like a partnership agreement or an operating agreement, but it doesn't form the actual special purpose vehicle or limited liability company. It doesn't get you married together. You're probably dating for this one project. And then when you sell it, then you can say, all right, what went well? What didn't go well? So on and so forth. So you don't have to, it's very easy to break up if things don't go according to plan. But even if you worked with them and things didn't go according to plan, debrief with them after every project or after, an event that you collaborated with somebody on, what you did well, what you didn't do well. I find that great partners are good at communicating with each other, and they're good at communicating, all right, having those candid conversations without egos being bruised. Because at the end of the day, we all want to do better and challenge each other to do better. So that's another thing there, is engage in a partnership light before tying the knot. Number 3, remember, partnerships are for growth. You want to partner with somebody because you want to build something exponentially bigger than what you can do on your own. If that's not the plan, why do you need to partner with somebody to begin with? Okay? The whole is greater than the sum of the parts, right? Is the old saying. So you want to make sure that you're partnering with somebody for the right reasons and they have that in mind as well. Not this sort of like, oh, let's, do some, some deals here and there, or do some of this and that here and there. That's really not the purpose of a partnership. A partnership is to create something much larger than you can do on your own. So you want to make sure that you're doing that not out of convenience, not out of from a position of weakness. I'm not good at this, so I need a partner. That's really the wrong reasons and will end in haste. Believe me, I've been there before. So make sure that that's what the right why is behind it, and you will create exponential growth for yourself if you select the right partner and you learn to work together as a team unit towards a common goal. So that's my advice on partnerships. Definitely, I am not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. The other thing you want to consider too is that, partnerships, when you create an LLC, a 2-member LLC, you probably have to file a yearly tax return, and that costs money as well. So that's another reason why you want to make sure that, okay, if you're forming something, formal partnership, that you want to, have the plan of growing year after year. Because if you just do one deal with them and it goes bad, and then you got to dissolve the LLC, or you're not sure if you can do anything more with them to begin with, then you got to pay an accountant $500 to $1,000 a year to file a yearly partnership tax return. It's really not worth it. There's no economies of scale for that. So anyways, again, I'm not an attorney or a CPA, so definitely consult with them before you make any decisions. This is just my experience as a real estate guy and a lot of the dumb decisions I've made throughout the years. So hope this has helped you as it's helped me, and have a wonderful new year, everyone.